Hello out there, my name is Laulu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is my take, and today is just in tidbits, 4 things, very short. 1, we must commend the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, for announcing that the minimum wage in that state is now 104,000. This is indeed a progressive move. So claims of his chairmanship of the progressive governors is actually boosted by his resolve and determination to go outside of the box to pay the workers in a state a decent salary. Now, this is hoping that all the other governors and even the federal government can rise up to the occasion and pay the Nigerian worker a decent salary. So this is kudos to Governor Hope Uzodinma. Please keep up this kind of good work. But number 2, it's about the tussle between Omoyele Sowore and the Inspector General of Police. We observed that this past week, the court has given the Inspector General of Police the permission to go after the banking records of Mr. Omoyele Sowore after the Inspector General of Police sought that order. This is happening in the same country where we have a sitting minister accused a former minister, former governor, of stealing 48 billion naira from NDDC. Where was the Inspector General of Police when that was said? It is in this same country that we have a chief of staff to a current minister say that when he was governor, they wrote the results of the local government elections in Rivers State from the office of the governor. Where was the Inspector General of Police on that matter? There are bigger issues, Mr. Inspector General of Police, than going after an activist like Omoyele Sowore. There are bigger issues that you need to pay attention to. Yes, Omoyele is contesting whether indeed your extension is legal, but you are in office. You should not be distracted by that opposition from him. Get the job done, secure the Nigerian people, and stop pursuing this man. It is completely something that profits no one. But number 3, the ASU has said that it will be going on a warning strike because of the unresolved 2009 agreement with the federal government. Now, why we want to encourage both the federal government and ASU to try and solve this problem, given the fact that in the last 2 years, there seems to have been some kind of an understanding between FG and ASU, which is a good thing. We would like to add that it is under the Tinubu administration, fair is fair, that the 50 billion naira hand academic allowance has been paid for the first time since the agreement. Now, that is something that goes to the credit of this administration, and we want both the federal government and ASU to push on that kind of agreement and spare our universities any kind of industrial crisis like we used to have before. We believe that the current minister seems to be focused on the job and is pursuing the right things, and we want ASU to work with the minister. We want the minister to work with ASU to prevent any other kind of crisis that shuts down our universities. And the final point today, the PDP has now resolved quite boldly to zone the presidency to the south. Yes, Wike is right. It seems to be a late decision, but better late than never. The idea that 8 years we go to the north, 8 years we go to the south in this consensus of rotational presidency is something that everyone in the political scene ought to keep faithful to. We can't have a situation where 8 years of the north is followed by another 4 years or 8 years from the north. It's just not fair. And so kudos to PDP for coming back to common sense. And I dare say that this move by the PDP to zone the presidency to the south for 2027 is the beginning of the resurrection of the People's Democratic Party. And there you have it. Inside Sources. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today I am leading the show with a discussion around public service reforms in our country. It seems clear to me that we can't make any significant headway in our national development without looking very critically to the issues of public service reforms. And so to join me in that very critical conversation, I have a scientist turned civil servant who retired, in my view, pretty early as permanent secretary and who has written tremendously on this issue of public service reforms to join the conversation. I'd like to welcome, for the first time, to Inside Sources, Dr. Goke Adegoroye. Dr. Goke, you are welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And I've seen that since you left civil service, you've written quite a number of books still on the issue of public service reforms. But let us start this way. Inside Sources is about the future of the country. So I'm going to ask you a general question. That if you look at where the country is today, where is the future? Where are we heading to in your own perspective? And then we come down to the specific issues around public service.
Well, these are questions that give me some trepidation in trying to answer. Because when I was retiring in 2010, I spoke to that particular issue, that I was lamenting that they say I'm retiring, I was retiring after putting in 35 years. And I recognize that those 35 years of my service were more than enough to give birth to a child and install him as a Senate president or governor.
That's true. At 35.
And yet, with all that I thought I had done as academic and as a public servant, I couldn't really point out to something that I can say, this is my own contribution to nation building. So I ended up then saying that they should not celebrate me. They should cry with me for my beloved country. And I also said that Soyinka was saying that he belonged to a wasted generation. That was 1984 when he turned 50.
Yeah.
And I said, Soyinka, at least 2 years later, had an acknowledgement that he wasn't a wasted generation in Nobel Prize. I didn't have any. And so, yes, I was in the service. Some people felt I was good enough to be DG. I was DG 2 times. Some people even felt I should be good enough to be head of service. That didn't happen. But it didn't stop me. And that is why I wrote at that time. And then after 5 years, I wrote again a compendium of 2 volumes that is in front of you there that say Restoring Good Governance in Nigeria. Because when people hear about reforms, they think it's something esoteric. But when you say you are restoring good governance, because that's actually the whole core. And now, and I gave this to so many people, every government that has come in had this copy. Your boss, I gave him a copy. Indeed, he was the one to launch it, and he sent Irukera then to represent him.
Right.
And then so also are those who have been since then. Our current president, Tinubu, was given his own a copy in November 2022.
Yeah, that was after the primaries.
Yes.
Before the election.
Before the election, okay. So all the things are there, and some of the prescriptions that I made were there, including the criticism of what had been done before, like criticizing the nomenclature given to Ngozi as coordinating minister of the economy,
right,
pointing out here that you do not adjust positions to fit an appointee, that appointees are like tenants in rented buildings. You don't adjust the building to fit the tenant. The tenant is the one who should fit in.
Yeah.
Okay. And I point out what was wrong. That one, Ngozi was there. You couldn't really tell what were the line ministries she was coordinating. Secondly, if she was coordinating minister, where was the coordinating bureaucracy? The permanent secretary under her was not coordinating anything. And so when Ngozi left, everything left with it.
Yeah.
And I highlighted that is some of the things that we should guide against. When this government came in, I was the one privileged to be invited to give the Nigerian at 63 Independence Day lecture at the Villa.
Okay.
And the title was Actualizing the Vision of Renewed Hope of the President.
Yes.
And I pointed out some of these things, saying that do not let us make the
same mistake
of the past. What did we then have? We have situation, even after writing here. In this book, you will find that I said, what are the factors guiding the creation of ministries? There are about 3 systems that I said there.
Right.
And then also, how do you determine ministerial portfolios? Okay. And in spite of these things being given to people, you find out that when our government came in, this is not criticism, I'm just telling you what I find.
Yeah.
What the Constitution intended is that the president will assign responsibilities. But what we find for those around the president is that they were sharing portfolios. When you assign responsibility, it comes with the notion that you are assessing the capability of the person, professional competence, and everything, and also looking at where the person is going. But then when you are sharing, you are talking about political things and personal issues and so on. That is what play out, which I highlight in my new book, for a situation that arose where a ministry, for example, like information and culture, which you will remember was handled by Lai Mohammed,
yes,
was broken under this administration to 3. They had culture, they had tourism initially, and they also had information. But a ministry like finance that has so many cross-cutting responsibilities across MDAs that have obligation internationally and into multilateral organizations was only being assigned to only one person. What do you then expect? Of course, the one person is not a robot. We began to see certain slowness, certain tardiness, certain ineffectiveness, and certain low efficiency that was coming in those ministries. A lot of people were actually talking to me. I gave some tracking example there of how things move in that ministry. Of course, the president now went later and was able to put somebody else, and we are hoping we're getting something. So when you are talking, my lamentation and what my book has been saying is that in a lot of ways, we are having retrogression, whether in the public morale or even in infrastructural development. I used to be able to drive from my hometown, Akure, in 1995, all the way to Abuja, and I will get here in 4 hours.
From Akure?
Yes, from Akure. I handle my car by myself. My driver will be by my side because I like driving fast a little bit. And I'll be here in 4 hours.
Wow.
You can't do that in 8 hours now.
No, you can't.
That tells you where Nigeria has gone. Whereas my wife's country, I feel sad, Mexico. Whereas when I met my wife 30 years ago, I thought our country were more or less the same.
Yeah.
Even population-wise, we are not. Every day you go to Mexico, you see new things.
Yeah.
What you call your flyovers here, you even see third layer flyover. You even see cable car taxi now in Mexico. And yet here, potholes will not even allow you. But then, we like to celebrate what should not be celebrated. And you see that those who were nobody in 1998, look at them now. Your social wealth are taken over from, individual wealth have overtaken social wealth.
Yeah.
The hospitals have gone down, but personal people have gotten so rich, and every little person can now go to either Dubai or United States
India
or Germany or India for medicals. So I don't want to paint a gloomy something, but that, in spite of all, that is why when the president came in and said he was doing renewed hope, many of us actually felt so enamored that, yes, we need to provide the support.
Yeah.
But then, what are we saying? Yes, there are lots of sound in what is happening. Big projects that have been announced.
Right.
But we need to try to see the efficiency, whether in terms of value for money for that, or the complement, which is what we are here to discuss.
Right.
The public service to translate those visions to reality. How much are they being empowered? And whether in terms of training or whatever, how much are they being remunerated to keep them to do the job?
Exactly.
How much hope are you giving to them? Because for a lot of public servants who are in retirement, there is a lot of bitterness.
Okay, I mean, doctors, just so we make it a conversation, and I see that you are quite, you are very passionate about these things, and it's good for the public interest.
Yeah.
In your own view, do you think that choice by political actors, president, vice president, governors, ministers, because they don't see the public service the way it is today? Let's set aside what happened, but they don't see it as something that is efficient enough for them. Should we blame them that they then want to get helping hands so that while the car is still running, you can still fix it? I want to get your view on that, Dr. Goke.
For one thing, who made the public service what it is? It is the political leadership. I don't want to go the normal public service ways by going to start with when they decapitated the leadership of the service during the Murtala Obasanjo regime.
Right.
Because even if that was, that's a long time ago, we should have fixed it.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to look at the period of Obasanjo. He recognized that the public service has to be the engine of governance. But he also recognized the public service was not good enough. So what did he do? The first thing he did was to bring a Professor Adedeji to organize a kind of training program, repositioning, that's the word. He said it was repositioning the public service to meet the challenges of the 21st century. He did it starting for those he wanted to make potential ministers, and the permanent secretaries. And it was after that that he chose his own head of the civil service, which was then Mr. Abuobe.
Yeah. And
after that, he now made Adedeji to go through the directorate level up to assistant director. Adedeji had 20 editions of 2 weeks. Eventually, I was with the office of I was with the Secretary of Government as the director and head think tank. I was the one that was made the chairman of the 20 editions to harmonize the report together.
So what do you mean by 20 editions?
Adedeji had 22-week training courses for directorate level.
So that's what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. 20
training sessions.
20 sessions.
Of training.
Of training.
Okay.
Because there are so many, you have to break them over the period, so that you had about 3,000. So
and this was during Obasanjo's presidency.
Presidency, 1999 to 2000.
Okay.
So at the time we finished, we now have to synthesize the outcome and the recommendations, and that is how And I was made the chairman of I was chairman of my own edition.
Okay.
And then I was now made the chairman of the 20 editions. And we collated the report, which we presented to the then head of service. At that time, now it had been Yayale Ahmed. And Yayale Ahmed took it to the president with the recommendations. The president was so happy. That was the report that actually recommended the establishment of the Public Service Bureau and the Public Service Council. And so he started with that, and we were doing a lot of the reforms. So what we're saying is that the reforms we were doing were being done by public servants. It wasn't that you are bringing people in. Of course, some people have been brought in. But remember, the original rule is that, yes, political office holders can bring special assistant, but you bring one. If you need more than one, you now take one from within, not less than an assistant director, which should be assistant or deputy director. So that in a way, there's synergy
Right.
And by the time you are going, the institutional memory is still there.
So does that mean that if you bring in a special assistant in a particular field, you must have somebody in the civil service that will work with the person to keep the? Is that what you mean?
Well, if you call it field, because what we are saying is that it's you as a political office holder.
Right.
Your entitlement is
to one
special assistant.
Okay.
So if you now need any other one,
okay, you
call it technical, call it whatever, you call it from within.
Right.
That's what is happening. Because it has its own positives and its own challenges.
Right.
The positive side is that it allows you at the pace that you want to go and with the understanding, the passion you have, to have someone of your own things like you.
Yeah.
And then it helps to drag the civil servant along, who may have been a little bit complacent, along to rise to the occasion.
Right.
Okay. So that is actually what it's meant to be. But some people now go beyond that and have a coterie of, what we call PAs, personal assistants, and they now create silos within their own offices where everything is being done. Whereas by the public service rule, those your own outside public servants cannot meet it in file.
Right.
They are your advisor, but they are not in the ministerial line. Some of those things are covered in this book, that the ministerial control is actually institutional, not personal.
Right.
And because it's institutional, it expects you to involve the permanent secretary and the civil servant.
Okay.
And the directors.
And I want us to go around these issues, and I'm not sure whether I'm putting the right questions first, but I'm sure we'll get the right, and then with your guidance.
Yes.
So we know that the status, where things are with the civil service today is not good. That's my view. So I'm thinking that if somebody is coming in who wants to fix it, what should be the first thing to be done? And I note what you said about what President Obasanjo did, and I hope you tell us how that story ended too. But my question now is that, can we really give the civil service as it is now? Don't they deserve, and I don't like to do a blanket, but can we really say that the civil service is where it ought to be?
The civil service is moving up, especially in the last 8 to 10 months.
Okay.
The civil service has a leadership now that is proactive, that is receptive, not just to criticism, but also to ideas.
Okay.
And is showing a capacity to embrace what is good for the service. And the service itself is saying it.
Okay.
But then we cannot deny the fact that what she may have inherited, it does not matter whatever is spoken. It's not necessarily as sound as what it should have been.
Okay,
that is what this book also pointed out.
Right.
This book even x-rays performance of heads of the civil service from 1999 to date. And it ended at the last occupant. And you'll be shocked. It's a downward retrogression. But the book also went, it's not the book, it's not my idea. I was just collating an assessment that was actually done on Google, where civil servants, PAMSECs, retired and serving directors were assessing on the basis of 20 criteria, including integrity, effectiveness, and so on and so forth. So it tells the story. But then I also have seen an upward surge in the approach of the current person. So what the leadership, what the political leadership will do is to now say, okay, in what way can we now support the current person also to be able to do more? And my own is that we need to allow the civil service to assess itself. In the same way that this book has assessed the head of the civil service, why can't we allow the civil service to assess itself in terms of permanent secretaries and the quality of directors? Because we know ourselves. We know those who are good, and we know those who are just carrying their something all over the place. We know those who are upright, And we know those who are not.
Right.
We know those who we can call member of the family tree of excellence.
Yeah.
But we also know those who belong to the family tree of corruption in the service.
True.
So these are the kind of things we need to do. Then when we do that, it becomes easier that all the, can we say, training or capacity building and so on that the current head of the civil service is now doing,
right,
will now find the right of place where to anchor in the civil service.
So before we get to the issue of corruption, I think we should look at the emoluments and the motivation of the civil service. Now, because of my own personal experience, so I'm able to say that, working with civil servants, for 8 years, I met, quite a few outstanding,
exactly,
but a lot of, lack of diligence, So, and I asked myself that, so what is it that has made these people, those that, clearly, it seems they're just there to, okay, when is the travel? When there's going to be a travel, everybody will run, they'll be amassing around my office, is my name on the list. But when I need the job done, I'll just see maybe 2 or 3 that are, So I have these encounters too.
Sure.
And it seems to me that it's all about motivation, in my own view. If people don't see a realistic future for themselves, I don't think they will be motivated to do what they, at times, even know to do. It's a different problem that people, there are even those who don't know what to do. That's a problem by itself. There are people who have entered the service without the appropriate preparation.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that the salaries that we are paying civil servants, and I've said this on this program, I think even last week, that, government is pretending to pay decent salaries. Civil servants are also pretending to collect decent salaries. It's not happening. So in your own view, how much do you attribute to the problem of emoluments in the crisis, in my view, that has become public service? How much of it do we attribute to the issue of emoluments, Dr. Goke?
Well, emolument is one thing, but what motivates go beyond emolument? Because the truth is this: the reason you join public service is not so much for money. It's because there are certain other satisfaction that you get from it.
Yeah.
In some of my earlier books, I have put it there. For example, a policeman is trying to run after somebody who is a rapist,
right,
or who has broken into somebody's house.
Yeah.
And they spend so much racing after that person,
right,
in a way that at the end of the day, you begin to wonder, how much is that? So we don't talk about in terms of financial efficiency. We talk about having been able to arrest that person. You at least have sent signal that this is not condoned.
Yeah.
So the same way for a teacher, seeing the success of the students motivates them far more than any other thing. Because if it is money, then you can easily go and join the companies that pay very, very high.
Or go and start the business.
But at the same time, you need to still give enough remuneration that will allow a civil servant to live in dignity. It is the barest minimum.
Yeah.
So in this book too, I've also highlighted some of those things that when I was in the environment, FEPA, and when I was in the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, because my officers were fully engaged, because they knew what to do, they were so happy with doing their work that they don't have enough time to think about corruption. Of course, I sent them for training overseas, internal, and so on and so forth. So they were quite motivated, and I gave a lot of examples of so many of those things that happen. I say that as the first time, that the first thing is the moment you do not occupy the minds and soul to tap into the capability of a civil servant, their mind wander, and then they can now be thinking about some other things. So that's part of the thing. So the motivation, yes, government will have to tackle the idea of salary. But the question you want to ask is that even in NFPC, that is paying so much, you still have the indolent people there too. So it's not the payment that's actually this. Yes, I will advocate for remuneration that allows us to live in dignity, that will, that will not give enough people any kind of excuse to engage in corruption. Okay, but more, it is to get people really, really occupied to do their job so that they can actually exhibit their excellence. And I say that when I started the Bureau of Public Service Reform, within a first year, that's the thing that I said. That I said, what is it in the service that kills initiatives, okay, and talents? And that as the DG, I was determined to help the system to remove that. So the cases that you are talking about, when you go to find out, it may not be traced to the fact that somewhere along the line, they were quite effective, they were doing so well, but somehow you bring people who are not good over them to supervise them. People, you go to the Civil Service. There was a period in the Civil Service Commission whereby it's more or less like cash and carry. Some people actually say it. There are people who allege that they pay as much as 10 million naira to be promoted to the next grade. So, as I said, civil servants know themselves. When you know that these people who have been promoted is not good.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a PAMSEC, I mentioned the name, Dr. Agari, was in labor. I was the DG of Bureau. He said, Goke, my brother, I have a challenge here. I said, what is it? He said, I have these 3 assistant directors. The worst of them is the one now who they say has passed. And he has come back and said that he must now be the deputy director to supervise those people. But that the very good one are usually so busy with their work, they don't have time to lobby any commissioner.
For promotion.
For promotion. It's not that they don't pass, but they don't have time to lobby because they will now juggle the marks so that so that the cutoff, the ones that they want are the ones who made the cutoff. Again, I've also criticized the mode of setting those tests. Instead of saying there's going to be vacancy on this your post, can we set an exam that enable us to target that whoever gets to this post will be able to function? No. They set a generalized one, and anybody can come. They ask you, what happened in Gombe last week? That kind of thing for director. So, what did I tell Dr. Angari? I said, easy. Just tell that person who has passed to now go to the head of service to go and get his own posting. Let the right person that is still there with you continue to do the job. Okay. So these are the kind of things that are playing. And it was the reason why I came up with the idea of tenure. I did a study and I found out that the assistant directors were so old that they were retiring ahead of the permanent secretaries and the directors. Because the directors and PAMSECs were those who were brought in from outside, including people like me who came from the university.
Right.
Okay, but there are more worse ones who were just brought in and then elevated to within 10 years and they were now director. So when civil servants see those kind of people who are not competent, when they see a boss that when they mean it to, all the boss does is to cut it, they say behead it and send it off without any kind of any input. Then they just say, why are we continuing to work for the guy?
Yeah. So
they just relax.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that takes us to the issue of corruption in a little bit more depth. So the problem of corruption in the country is I mean, we can't overemphasize it. But there has been lately, a lot of focus on the fact that the civil service seems to have become the locus of corruption. I mean, EFCC tells us every day, many of the estates in Abuja is owned by civil servants and all kinds of stuff that we have heard over and over again. I am beginning to wonder that how are we going to resolve the problem of corruption in the civil service with the way things have become, so that people, just like you have said today, people even pay for promotions. That seems to be the lower of the problems. You have a case where people make a certain level of salaries and clearly their lifestyle doesn't reflect it. But some of them will tell you behind the scene that, look, I got to take care of myself, especially since after Murtala, I met a older brother of mine 2 weeks ago and said, look, it used to be that people know that whatever happened to them, their pension will be fine. but that since after the military, all of those things have been torn to shreds so that people have to take care of themselves. It has now become a crisis. What is the way out, Dr. Goke?
Call a dog a bad name so you can hang it. Civil servants are not built or trained to be corrupt. In fact, the civil service is designed that you live upright. That's why you have the rules, the public service rules, the financial regulations. You'll be surprised at what makes civil servants corrupt are the political office holders, the politicians.
But Dr. Goke,
I am the one.
The politician says the exact.
Listen,
opposite.
I'm the one. Okay, I'm the one telling you. I can give you data, like Rufai was anyway say empirical data. Okay, the civil servant has 35 years. The civil servant knows that he has pension, so he's relaxed. He's not thinking about that. The political office holder, once you bring them in as minister, they want to become governor. And they want to amass enough money during that 3 to 4 years to be able to contest.
No, that's true.
That the one putting pressure. I know what people like us had to do.
The problem, Dr. Goke, is that there is a collaboration between both the political and the civil servant.
You are correct. I agree. That's what I'm saying. So it takes a civil servant of integrity, but who also is ready to be bruised to stand against that kind of political office holders. That is why I also said in my earlier book, the Restoring Good Governance.
Yeah,
I said in the kitchen of public sector corruption, the civil servant is the cook that has to prepare the ingredients. Is the steward that also have to serve it, the waiter that has to serve it, and is the steward who will clean it to make sure that nothing is seen by anybody who's coming. The civil servant is a tool of corruption. It's not actually the initiator. Of course, there are certain civil servants that are the ones who will initiate you to it as soon as you are coming, telling you what you deserve, because those ones want to be able to get your favor, and they know that as a political office holder, you also like those kind of people.
Yeah.
It is the tragedy that in reality, if civil service corruption is to be curbed, the political leadership is the one who must be able to stand and say, okay, you want to do this. Because a lot of instances, when civil servants, is in that new book, when they go to complain to their bosses, they are the ones that are moved out to allow the minister to stay there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be mentioning them. Say, if I give you descriptions, those who did it will even let you know.
No,
it's not that I'm defending people like me. When you see a civil servant, the civil servants who are very good, who are of integrity, even as accountants, they go and make them internal auditor. And the ones who are able to manipulate the money, they make them the real account officer, the DFA. And they also get rewarded for it. It's so funny, that the key thing you must know is that the civil service is designed to be upright. The rules are there to enable it to be upright. But the tragedy is that those who are not upright in the civil service, the unupright, the ones of questionable integrity, are the ones that the political office holders support more to even get into higher positions.
Okay, Dr. Adegoroye, I think we have to extend our conversation.
Yes.
Because I think it's getting to the point that it's the political will.
Yeah.
That seems to be insufficient. Just to put it.
Yes.
Just to put it like that. One of the things again that I observe, in this villa is that if Nigeria is going to change, whoever is number one has to be the one driving it. Because everybody takes their cue from number one. I mean, since I started this program, I have been calling out a lot of governors.
Yeah.
I say, governors are responsible for education, governors are responsible for health and agric. And that is what the constitution says. But a lot of those governors, they're looking at the president. They're looking at how the president is behaving.
Sure.
And they follow his cue.
Yeah.
So even though they have the powers and the responsibilities, but they think that, if the president seems to be, behaving in a particular way, maybe we can just avoid our responsibilities. So, and I see that in your book, I'm sure this is something that is recurrent in many of your books. You describe the public service as the blind spot of the president.
Yeah.
So how do we get it? Two questions now. How do we get that away from the blind spot to be the central focus of the president? Because to me, I don't think we're going to have any kind of political development or national development if we don't fix the civil service.
Yeah. So
what has to change in our political behavior, in the way our political elites emerge? Because all the things we're talking about, it gets back to the political elites and it gets back to who is number one. And that's the tough question, Dr. Adegoroye. That's a tough question. How do you dice it?
You as a driver of the wagon, the nation, you have a responsibility as a driver not to just look ahead, but you look left, right, and look at your blind spots. When after several times you do that, but you continue to see that there's always a particular thing there that is causing danger,
right,
then you take far more action. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Obasanjo came in. He saw that the civil service, will be needed. He brought it from the blind spot to
the main focus.
To the main focus. And he tackled it. And for the first time, even created an agency. What did Obasanjo do? Because he has also this international thing. He spoke to people like Tony Blair. Tony Blair sent an advisor from his own office, Dr. Wendy Thompson, to come here to see and say that we need to have it. And that's how we came to have Servicom and the Bureau of Public Service Reforms.
Okay.
But the tragedy, I don't want to praise myself. Everybody knew what the public service reform was during Obasanjo. But after I was deployed from the Bureau for the next 6 years, everything went downhill. Until one head of the civil service, Goni Aji, said, no, we need to revive this. 6 years after Adegoroye, there were 6 heads of the Bureau, alternating between acting head, director, and permanent secretary who felt they were only sent there to be punished, and therefore were not really doing the work, and nobody really had anything it was doing between 2007 and 2013. It was Goni Aji who now said, okay, maybe it's even the title DG brought Abba, which Joe Abba, then brought Joe Abba there to come and be in.
Right.
Yes, during Joe Abba started and then the regime came in.
Mm-hmm.
At the initial stage of Joe Abba, he had a problem. He had a challenge. He said that the SGF they said he should be reporting to did not want to see him, that his topic was dry. And he approached me. I put it in that book. I had to make him to go and speak to Nasiru El-Rufai so that we can reposition him to come and work under the vice president.
Mm.
That was the intention. Joe Abba can. Yeah. I said at least the vice president understand he will be able to help
things forward. Yeah.
So these are the things that we are saying. That is, at that time, he was going to the blind spot. We say, why don't you just bring it in? There are issues that are here. If I raise certain issues in my presentation at the Independence Day, and also in this kind of book, and including some memos that I had sent towards the presidential office,
right,
and those issues are not taken care of, then what do you then expect? Okay, the president goes everywhere. He has these big visions of the things that he wants to do, but yet he's not able to look to say, okay, how am I going to do this? There are people who can give advice. Absolutely. I'm 75 years old. I cannot take from my employment anymore. But ask me for advice. I can give you advice.
Absolutely.
The advice are already inside there. That's why I give the book. When I launched this book, I sent some to the president and the vice president. Just did this new one in addition to the one.
Okay.
And then even the current head of civil service has also received his own. So this is what we are saying. Because until you do that, to say, okay, what are we going to do about the public service? Between me and you, I also know that you're a pastor.
Yeah.
Okay. My own ministry is this thing that I do.
Yeah.
Integrity and governance. Okay. Even our religion, every other thing, if the civil service is not fixed,
yeah,
there is no way that any of those can go right. But because you'll be surprised that in governance, what is entered as the governance architecture that plays out in terms of ministries and agencies permeates every sector of our life, from religion to business to any other kind of thing. So you need to be able to look at that because they can help you to drive that. And it is only when you are doing that that the thing can be fixed. Policy, fix policy. You'll be able to fix politics. You don't fix politics to think you can fix policy or public service. It's the other way around.
You have to fix
policy and public service
before you fix
then you'll
politics.
be able to, yes, and then politics will go right.
But okay.
So the things that you are saying about
yes. Sorry, so please hold your thought on that.
Yeah.
And I want you to continue.
Yeah.
But so how do we fix policy if the politics is not right? Because the politics is going to produce the leader who is meant to fix policy.
But the policy is the one to actually lay out how the leadership will emerge.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
But I'm saying that
and it's because you are not effective.
If it takes somebody,
yeah.
It will take, is it not the leader of the politics? I mean, and I'm just arguing with you. You are the expert.
Yeah.
Is the head of the politics who will fix the policy, according to you. But if the way the emergence of that political leader is the way it is now, should we expect any surprises, Dr. Adegoroye?
Who is going to change
That's the
way that thing emerges?
Yes.
Okay. You gave an example before whereby they see the president of the nation as the only leader.
Yeah.
Whereas in reality, at every stage, there are leaderships down the line.
True.
And until each one of us begin to see ourselves as leader. In one of my earlier books too, I said it, that if Nigeria really wants the president to function the way they think, you will need a Hydra-headed president that have 50 heads to tackle each one.
Which is not possible.
But you are supposed to see yourself as a mini president in your own and to do the right thing. When I was the DG of the bureau, we were working so efficiently, a bureau that had no law. We were working so efficiently that the then head of the civil service, when the new government came in, said the bureau is too powerful.
Wow.
The bureau is too powerful because we work so hard that we gain the confidence of the president, that even cabinet decisions are being referred to me. An example is there, whereby the president is making cabinet decisions about the economic team and is writing to the head of the bureau. I say, attention, Dr. Adegoroye, and was only copying the SGF and the head of service. That's because of leadership that I provided. So if everybody provides leadership in the right way,
in their home,
including those governors, including everyone in the ministry, because the reason they call you chief executive of your ministry is because you are the leader. The president is the chief executive of the federation.
Yeah.
So you must see yourself in your role as mini president in your own and do it right. And not do what I also refer in one of my books, pendulum delegation. Because they want to be corrupt, they want to refer everything to the president for approval. Whereas the mandate of the ministry already giving you the powers to do the right thing, so that only the reports, that's what you'll be forwarding to the council.
Very, very, very important point that you made, Dr. Adegoroye, and I wanted to ask you that. So you are not bothered, and this is it's a curveball, but I'm sure that you are able to take it. You are not bothered about the way the politics itself is structured. Are you not bothered about the way the politics itself is structured?
The question I want to ask is,
you focus so much on the public service. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'm arguing that politics, the way we do politics, or the way we have come to do politics in this country, seems to me to be the heavier burden that has corrupted the public service. Doctor?
That's one way of looking at it. The reason I don't talk about politics is because there's nothing there that is constant that you can actually emulate. I remember at my retirement, the retirement dinner in the Congress Hall of Hilton in those days, one of the statements made by Malam Nasir El-Rufai is that, Goke, you must come and join us in politics. And I said, no. What has happened today? You've seen them. Today they are here. Tomorrow they are there. Tomorrow, the Nasir himself is betrayed. Okay. Some people also claim that maybe he's betrayed somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just giving that example. And that's what you've been seeing, everybody moving around. I find it difficult to be able to play politics because what I advocate in my books will not be given political coloration. So I try to stay straight. I don't belong to any political party. I will judge everybody on their own right.
Just like Buhari, I belong to everybody, I belong to nobody.
Not like Buhari.
I know.
Okay, so, okay. So I see what you are saying, but again, do you know also part of the problems that we have? The presidency is the center of government.
Yeah.
And it has a think tank within the office of the SGF. Do you know that in the office of SGF, we are supposed to have a permanent secretary of political affairs? We are supposed to have permanent secretary economic affairs. That's how we used to have it. Hakim Baba Ahmed was permanent secretary political affairs during Obasanjo.
Yes.
It was from there he was moved to INEC. Okay. And before he went to foreign affairs and so on. Okay. And when he was there, we were so active. Okay. Midterm, for example, again, I'm sorry, permit me to say that.
Please go ahead.
This book that you see here was supposed to mark my 75th birthday.
Right.
Which will have been coming out about now because my birthday was yesterday.
Oh.
But I had to advance it to make it relevant to this administration. That's why I launched it on June 4 about the midterm of the administration. With the hope, and that's the statement that I made, with the hope that some of the recommendations therein might help the administration to rejig whatever they were doing. Because during Obasanjo midterm, we carried all the ministers and everybody to a retreat in Kuru in 2001.
Okay.
And it was from there we had a statement of commitment, rededication that we termed as the Kuru Declaration. Those things were put together by Dr. Adobe Obe, myself, and Dr. Hakim. I was expecting that kind of thing. So what I'm trying to say is that would have been the think tank for the presidency to be able to say the kind of politics we're having now is going to have these kind of challenges. What are the things we know that we need to do? And some of those things will have been an advisory channel to the president to let the president know that not just his own stability, but the stability of the nation will depend upon how we're able to move this. Because what you are saying now is this. The current one that we are saying, which is fearsome, I do agree. If somebody doesn't really, in a methodical way, find a way to pull us back, it may just lead to chaos that some people will not just say until they make it chaotic. I itemized in this book, and I said, when President Tinubu was elected, and I tried to, that's in chapter 11, that I tried to assess the kind of challenges he was going to have and how we can help him to get the bureaucratic setup that will help him to minimize those challenges and allow his trajectory to be a smooth flow and as rapidly as possible. Some of the things that identifies, if you open chapter 11 there, you will see there. That one, even the election hangover. The fact that some people are even debating whether he won or he didn't win.
Yeah.
Okay? And not just that he won or he didn't win, but it's also the fact that even in Abuja, the seat of power, it was clear that he didn't even win 20%.
Right.
Which means it was in the midst of enemies, including the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And I pointed out that he needs to do something to be able to own his bureaucrats because, like Joelites said in 1977, nobody masters the art of pretense more than the civil servant. The same people that voted against him will pretend they were with him, but you are not sure what they were doing on the ground. But one of the things I pointed out there is that, did he realize why was it that the then head of the civil service was moving permanent secretaries effective 30th May 2023?
30th May.
30th May 2023. Permanent secretaries were moved.
Just one day after.
Just one day after. And one of the permanent secretaries initially recommended, but was overruled by Buhari, was the permanent secretary of the State House. I wrote about it, and it came out in the press. And I said, this is danger. The day that the president would have gone, you know what the setup is that be.
Of course.
You want to go in there, the brigade of guards want to receive you, and so on. Yeah. Nobody knows who is who, who is moving in whatever.
You don't, yeah, exactly.
You just want, what informs that kind of thing? And I pointed it there that at the time of handing over by Buhari, whoever, the position that everybody held was what they should hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And until President Tinubu changes, nobody can move.
Yeah.
But they didn't understand that.
But the head of service made movements on the 30th of May.
30th of May.
When
they issued circular and some movement took place.
But so under whose authority would that be?
It would say that authority of the previous president. But I'm saying, that was actually quite right.
Absolutely.
It wasn't really clean. So I pointed those out. But there are also some other challenges that I pointed out there. Okay. So these are the issues because those things matter. Okay. Because you might say, yes, the president had some hiccups at that initial stage. How did the hiccups start? When the president is new, those who are also coming in, all those kind of things.
Of course.
So I'm trying to point out these things, and these are the issues.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful book that you've done. Thank you so much for your work in the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. We don't know what is happening there currently since Joaba left. I don't know what we can say about it. Hopefully, the new head of service that you've spoken so early of, she might be able to resuscitate some of these things, and we can move our country forward. Okay. And thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you. All right. For having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nigeria.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will succeed because we will not relent. Thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.